Alright, what's up everyone? This is Sam, and we're back again with El Flamingo and Evan Smoke VGC for the official Great Lakes Draft League Huron Division Power Rankings. We're just going to jump right in here. And first up, we've got Trunks. So, just so everyone knows, we have all the teams here in one spreadsheet, and 13 means this is the first pick in this draft. 13 is just that way because we had to have separate numbers for all of the teams. So first thing to keep in mind with Trunks that I have to point out is he was actually also a replacement. He came in after the draft and he had an unlimited 24-hour transaction period. So he made most of these trades, and he traded almost everything from the original team. So the draft order is not 100% accurate because he traded. But that being said, I like this team. I think if we go to the type matchups, the one glaring weakness is five weaknesses to rock and no resists, which is a little rough. Rock moves can be a little inconsistent, as Wade pointed out to me the other day. So I agree that it's not the most awful thing, but what are you guys' thoughts on this team?
I actually liked it before the trades.
I agree.
Yeah, like it's got some good support options. I think there is quite a few. Like he's got three water types, so I feel, you're setting up terrain with Rillaboom. Like that could be an easy exploitable weakness there. He has, he essentially has like four or five different combinations he can do to achieve his fire water grass core, which means it kind of leaves the rest of his cores a bit lacking. Um, so he doesn't have fairy type, doesn't have a steel type, doesn't have a dragon type, which I feel is probably those are the two cores you really want to try and fill out. Is the fire water grass and steel dragon fairy, and he's done one and he's done it twice. So I feel there's a lot of redundancy there. But I think the team could still do okay. I think it still has tools that can work in its favour. It's got redirection with Butterfree, it's got Tailwind, it's got Trick Room, and it's got really good support. It may just also be lacking the offensive prowess that's needed.
Yeah, one thing real quick. Jaden says that Rotom Mo is listed as a tier 4 here, but it's actually a tier 3. Just so everyone
Okay.
knows. Um, yeah, I think that's a mistake there, but yeah, so that should
Yeah, I
quit.
think it might have come up during trades, right? That's yeah, one of
Yeah,
the
the order
tracking
might have
traits.
been weird because of the trades. I think Rotom would have been a free pick, I believe.
I see. Yeah, maybe. I'll go through my
Yeah,
points. I have a hot take here. This is a team that loves to belly drum. Three mons actually know belly drum on this team, and then you go Rage Powder, belly drum, you try and Dynamax and do crazy damage. But maybe not. So I think Wade is totally right. This team doesn't have that Fairy Dragon Steel core, and it doubles up on a few types that feel redundant. So it's standard Fire Water Grass, but the question is, will it be enough? The team, I feel like it didn't really use. It was because of the trades. Okay, sorry, I wrote on my notes that they didn't really use their age picks to their advantage, but that wasn't the case. So I feel like in general, just no significant offensive pressure right off the bat, and you really
Hmm.
require some sort of setup. And however, the team just still has decent tools to always slow down your opponent's dynamics, and then maybe just capitalize off it. Wait for stall out dynamics with all your bulk, and then come up with a dynamics after your opponent's dynamics has ended. Yeah, that's how I feel.
yeah. So I actually realized that mistake was on the website. For some reason, it has Rotom as a tier 4, which is wrong. Um, on the website, so I have to fix that. But um, it should be Sigalith should be that tier 4 slot, and then Rotom is the remaining
Okay.
free slot. But it doesn't really matter much here. I have to correct that with Trunks though, because he had made a trade with thinking he had extra points, and I guess he doesn't. But yeah, I like this team overall. Are we good to move on? You guys think?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Next up is second pick in Huron, which was Niels and the Belgian Beldams. We see a very similar core shaping out in the early draft to the Road Gold Pretzels. With Celesteela, Finny, Raichu up there with Meowstic as a really good prankster support option. I like the Pelipper here. I'm not sure that the Pelipper is like super needed, but it's not bad either. I don't think. Norvern's a good Tailwind setter. Turtonator's a good Trick Room Mon. I like Spiritomb. I think Beldum was just kind of a mascot pick, and I think Audino's a great.
He does that. He does that every draft I've been with him. He's got Beldum.
Yeah. I like Audino as a tier 5. Gets Trick Room, gets Clutch, stuff like that. So I like it. What are you guys' thoughts?
I would like to see him get rid of the Beldum and look at getting Caracosta from tier 5. So then he's at least got a Swift Swimmer. But then that triples up on his water types there. So yeah, I don't really see what the Pelipper and Tapu Fini are doing here. Like I feel like you only need one or the other. But other than that, like he's got quite a lot of good mons, but just kind of lacks the offensive presence. Like his highest physical attacker is 110 in Leafeon, and his highest special attacker is Celesteela with 107. So I feel like you could stall this team out quite easily and not let them get much out of their max.
True. For me, I feel like that's a good comparison with Gumi's team. This is another Raichu Celesteela team, this time with cat support with Meowstic. However, as compared to Gumi's team, I feel like Neil's team here kind of has to ride on the back of Raichu even more, especially with that strange Pelipper pick with that 4x electric weakness. I think Pelipper can only sort of come in maybe as a sash user to protect Celesteela as much as possible if the team is going up against a very strong fire type offense, maybe in terms of Cinderace or Charizard. Yeah. So, however, I'm not sure if it's drafted in this division. So for me, I feel like there's a notable electric weakness, and very interestingly, no ground type drafted. So really, the Raichu has to put in a lot of work for the team. And the Sun mode with Leafeon, to me, it's not the most convincing. So this team might struggle against something that is easily able to deal with Leafeon, or maybe just set up Trick Room and go slow and ignore their mons trying to go fast. I recognize the Spiritomb Turtonator combo. Wink, wink, good job. And lastly, I don't want Niels to trade away the Beldum because I really respect mascot pick. You can work with the other 10 mons. Just keep your mascot pick for bragging rights. I really respect that.
You could proc a weakness policy on the Beldum with the Spiritomb's Shadow Sneak. I think that's the go, Niels.
Maybe.
I can't say that's a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, overall, I honestly can say, like, I get the Pelipper because, like the whole thing, if you have Pelipper and Raichu next to Celesteela, then it's got no weaknesses. But I just feel like the Pelipper could be something else. Especially in a tier 3 slot, there's a lot of value in tier 3, and I don't know that it also conflicts, like, if you go Meowstic, Leafeon, and, like, Prankster Sunny Day, then if you have Pelipper in the back, you can't bring Pelipper in the back, otherwise you're conflicting your own weather. So I'm not a huge fan of Pelipper here. I don't think it's awful, but I feel like a transaction there could be good. But yeah, overall, we gave it a 7.4 out of 10. Alright, moving on.
I think that's fair.
right, we got M-Boss 11 and the Milwaukee Mammal Swines. He was the third pick, and so he picked Togekiss round 1, and then followed by Metagross, and then Hydreigon. Those three, I think, makes this team have one of the scariest fantasy cores in this division. I think Togekiss, Metagross, Hydreigon is super good. You have lots of good ground switch-ins with that double ground immunity, which made Raikou an even better pick in my opinion. With Bulldoze into Metagross and can set screens, I think Raikou is a super versatile support option, and it can also max and deal damage. Hitmontop as well, I love. Even, Crustle, I think, is decent. I think his low tier picks were pretty good. Yeah, I really like this team. I ranked it at 8 out of 10, and which was actually the lowest of the three of us, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were you guys' thoughts?
I ranked this a 9. Yeah, I really like this team. Even if you look at some of his lower picks, follow me, Shell Smash Crustle. I'm using Crustle in another league at the moment, and it's my current kill leader. And compared to the other Greedent team we saw, like this has redirection, so you can get the belly jump up there a lot easier. So I really like this team. This is what my team couldn't be.
True. My notes here is that if you try and assemble the Avengers, then you always want to pick the best out of the best. Man, this Togekiss, Hydreigon, Metagross, this is crazy. Even with the Raikou, that makes this team so crazy. So that's why I called it the well-assembled Togekiss Metagross team. Yeah, impressive first 2 picks, and then very good picks to follow up. So good synergy all around. However, one small problem I have is that this team might struggle to bring the correct 6 mons each week because you have so many options, and then in the end you might just fall back to your bulkiest options. Then always bring the same ones that could be quite predictable to your future opponents. I feel like the opponents might over-prepare for that Raichu Metagross lead, while this team has plenty of options to play around any incoming counters. So there's always room to get creative. This is a team that will carry you. I feel like you don't really need to carry the team. So just use it to its full potential.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
This was, I think, my second or third favorite in this division. I think second. All right, moving on. We have.
Nice, hang on. Let's go.
All right, Raspberry and the Detroit Delmise. So first off, the Cresselia I thought was an interesting pick. I can't say I 100% agree with it. I don't think it's bad by any means. I don't love it as a tier 1 because I feel like doesn't do enough offensively for me. And he doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. But I like the Hitmonlee Sylveon combo. Hitmonlee can do big damage with a weakness policy on Burden proc with a quick attack from Sylveon. So I like that a lot. And let's see what else. I also like the Crobat. I think it gives him a good fast mode combined with Cresselia, which gives him a good Trick Room setter. And then Vikavolt's good in Trick Room. Liepard is an amazing support pick. Like, Liepard has carried me to so many wins in the VBA. Flareon is probably one of the best tier 5s in the league. And yeah, I like this team a lot. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this team. Like, if you look at that base stat average, 518, that's huge.
Yeah.
So he has got the Trick Room option, he has got the fast option, and he's got a lot of hard hitters on both sides of the spectrum. So, like, this one is like, what do you prep for when you play this team?
Right.
You kind of almost, again, you have to prep for everything. Because he'll outspeed you with Tailwind, or underspeed you with Trick Room, or he'll activate a weakness policy, or I think this is a top tier pick. Good to see that Raz finally decided to go a Trick Room option.
um,
Hmm.
yeah, I was gonna say one thing. I better see some skill swap levitate onto Aggron. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
Well, see, this is
I've
what I
like.
was hoping with the auxiliary team. If you get something like a Cresselia and you use the skill swap onto a Moody auxiliary, then it's very hard to take down.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, my comments for this team is kind of strange. I feel like this could be a team of misfits that might or might not work well together because these ones are not commonly seen in VGC. And to
Mm.
me, they don't really seem to work well together. Yeah, you have that Sylveon and Hitmonlee combo, but that's just one of them. Then with the Cresselia, like the question is, do you even want to set Trick Room or not for the team? Maybe just set Trick Room to enable Vikavolt and Wishiwashi, but that feels quite one-dimensional. I feel like the fantasy core, it's unorthodox, but it could work well with good support. And I think if piloted well, this team really has the potential to stall even the most offensive teams. Because Cresselia there is a possible cosmic power or calm mindset with stored power. And for Aggron, if you have nothing to touch Aggron, or if your team manages to take down the ground and the fighting types, because you have a strong fairy type, right, with Sylveon, then Aggron also has that potential to stall with body press and uh, iron defense and body press, right? Very popular. So I can see this Aggron putting in some good work.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna
Wow,
say.
with that levitate, yeah, with levitate that would be insane.
What was that? Sorry.
I was saying with levitate that would be insane. Yeah, levitate then iron defense, leftovers, body press.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the synergy is not super evident to me here, um, other than like the Sylveon Hitmonlee stuff, and the potential skill swap shenanigans with Aggron and Cresselia. I think it's definitely a good team, but yeah, I agree the synergy isn't quite there. That's why I gave it a 7. All right, next team here. We have Omar and the Egypt's Fluttering Flygons. So he picked Indeedee first round, which I think I always agree with an Indeedee round 1 pick. Cobalion Weavile I think is super solid, um, with the option as well later picking up Dragapult to do the same thing with beat up into Cobalion. Uh, to me, if Weavile was the sole beat up user on this team, I would want something else, like Sneasel, because I believe they were the same tier. But that being said, I actually like the Weavile pick here because Dragapult can beat up as well, and Weavile is a good offensive mon. Like the speed tier, the
Absolutely.
attack stat, the offensive coverage of Dark and Ice is really good. Um, excuse me, sorry. Um, but yeah, the Azumarill, I like it a lot. It improves the Trick Room mode. Um, the Frostlass Tauros is always something you have to watch out for with the Anger Point. I will say, I think it. I don't love this how this team looks. If the opposing team has redirection, I think it's gonna struggle because a lot of its damage output is reliant on setup. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts?
Um, I pretty much agree with everything you said there. The redirection is going to be the hardest thing for this team. But, like, there is just so many threats. And if you don't have redirection, or if your redirection is rage powder, then something just needs a safety goggles. And that helps. Or, you've got prankster taunt or even non-prankster taunt with Weavile and stuff like that. So I think that you can work around the follow me very easily on this team just with the myriad of taunt users you have. And I think Cottony is a great tier 4 pick. Not because of speed control or anything like that. Um, you'll find a lot of teams will become at least some components of every team will be ability orientated. And so you have a Cottony with Worry Seed. You can take out a big threat on your opponent.
Yep.
Which a lot of this team is ability orientated. So maybe that's a reason he picked up Cottony, was so no one could use it against him.
Huh.
Wow, what an interesting point. That's a very good catch on that Cottony pick. For me, I just have one thing to say to all the Huron players. I'm being super blunt, right? How in the world did Dragapult fall down to the round 5 pick? I went to check, I was going through every team, rating them. Then I see Dragapult so low, free pick. What's going on? Then I go and see, wow, 53rd pick Dragapult. That's insane. So I think congratulations to the Flygons for managing to pick up Dragapult and pairing it so well with Cobalion. Even I think a Dragapult plus Weavile lead could be quite scary and threatening because of Max Phantasm. So to me, I feel like this team really has to be aware that your opponents are definitely going to prep very heavy for Cobalion, even Tauros, and that can, you can easily prep Intimidate or will always spam. So this team really has to be careful because, like Sam said, it really needs to sort of set up to get itself going. Then I feel like the secondary mode of Tauros actually is quite interesting because Tauros is naturally faster than Cobalion. That kind of forces your opponents to prep a bit more speed in prepping, during the prepping phase. Then I feel like this team also might not want to play in Trick Room, so I ranked it a bit lower in terms of speed control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
agree
makes
with that, and I know one of you guys already mentioned it, but definitely one of my concerns with it is one, there's triple ghost types, which he covers it pretty well. But I think having a lot of weaknesses, especially on those mons that you want to bring often, is a little scary. But also, yeah, everything here is physical for the most part. Like, yeah, you can run special Dragapult, but it's not gonna do as much as physical Dragapult, and yeah, I don't know. Like, his strongest special attacker here is Heatmore, and I don't think that's necessarily a good position to be in. But yeah, I like this team decently. I think, yeah, I gave it an 8, so I like it. It's definitely has a lot of threats you need to cover.
Yeah, good points.
Alright, next up,
We have 18.
we've got...
Pick, right?
What was that? This would be...
The sixth pick. Sixth. Sorry.
Yeah, 6th. Alright, this is PK Nexus and the Nexus Ironworks. So he was 6th pick. He picked Blastoise, Politoed, Kingdra, and then Colossal, Ludicolo. So, one of my big qualms with this team, and just up front, I gave it a 6 out of 10, is the type coverage is not great. He's got double grass types. He has 4 water types.
Yeah.
He has Colossal on a rain team, which I think is a little... And to be fair, he did...
Questionable.
Yeah, he did trade it. He did trade it for Regieleki, I think, which I guess is better than Colossal, but I still would have probably dropped one of the water types. I don't think he needs 2 Swift Swimmers. I don't really think he needs Blastoise. Like, to me, I think he should lighten up on the rain mode or drop the Colossal, which I guess he did drop the Colossal. So, but yeah, I agree, Puppy Canton. The water typing and even the double grass typing I don't love here. Yeah,
See, I would have kept the Colossal, not picked up Regieleki. He's got the Magnezone. Like, do you need another electric type? So he's just compounding even more weaknesses there. I feel like he could have ditched a couple of his water types. Maybe just gone the Politoed Kingdra and then got rid of Ludicolo and Blastoise and brought in something that could maybe support the Colossal, and maybe a mon that could support the Colossal and a mon that could support the Rain Mode better or something like that. But, yeah.
Yeah, to me it's just...
I'm not a huge fan of this.
Yeah, my first comment is Colossal in the Rain, question mark, exclamation mark, kind of sus. But I think I would agree with this Reggie Lecky pick. I feel like he always wants this one mode to go fast, maybe even faster than potential Kingdra or Ludicolo in Rain. So let's just see how things play out. However, these how like Sam said, these multiple fire water grass cores is very strange, and they do have this massive weakness to fighting and dark, in my opinion. So it feels like this coach maybe wants opponents to guess whether they would go a fast mode or a rain mode. Is very strange, and this team only has one fake out in Blastoise, so it might have to do a lot of work. And I think there's no tailwind, no trick room, and no redirection. So this team might really struggle against those really bulky teams out there.
Well, I will say Ludicolo also gets fake out.
Oh yeah, it does.
But yeah, the other thing that could potentially go here, and I guess it sucks that you only get 3 free agent trades, but Licky Licky, I don't get it here. Yeah, I don't know. To me, normally Licky Licky would be like a potential Cloud9 weather counter or something, which, you know, I know there's varying opinions on how good Cloud9 is. I don't personally think it's that good, but I don't get why you have it on a rain team when you already have like Politoed to switch into weather. I don't know. Just
Yeah, I feel like the one good thing that Nexus has going is the Scizor. Definitely Scizor in rain.
yeah,
That's very strong and powerful. I
Magnezone
think
and I
can
like
be the Cradily can be creative. Maybe Surf, Spec Surf Kingdra with Cradily. Hopefully that works out.
yeah. I also like Magnezone and Rain too. I don't think that's bad either.
Yeah.
True.
I think if you got Licky Licky, you kind of want something that has swagger or something to redirect so you can get a belly drum off.
Yeah.
Because this team definitely doesn't want the Cloud9. Doesn't want Cloud9 as an ability.
Agreed. All right. Are we good on this one? Got a 6.3 out of 10.
Yep.
And moving on to Tomb and the Psycho Cut Subtiles. So this, he was 7th pick, and he took Togetic, which is honestly a good, like, I don't mind that first round pick. And then into Hatterene and Glastrier, I think he's already developing a strong Trick Room mode. He took his signature Sceptile Vulpix combo. He's used it against me in the Pokemon Battle Kingdom Season 2. I know he ran it in the Diamond Division and RPDL last season.
Yeah, you did too, yeah.
Yeah, and the Excelgor Palisand is also another setup combo. Ditto, I don't mind as a tier 4. I think Ditto can do some interesting stuff. Especially against teams that have like stuff they don't want to max, like that's offensive stuff, like like sheer force users or whatever. I think Ditto's pretty cool to like come in with a scarf and counter those. That being said, the fire matchup here looks to be a little rough. Yeah, 4 weaknesses, no resists. That's definitely rough, especially fire, which almost every team has a fire type. So yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah.
There's also only 10 out of 18 types are covered here. He has double fairy, double ice, double psychic, which really like isn't a huge issue. Like I don't mind the type double ups here, other than the fact that it just gives him limited coverage. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree. It would be nice if he had a bit more type variability. He's got a lot of strong two-mon combos. Skeptile, Vulpix, Selgor, Palisand, Togetic, Hatterene. The Ditto I also like. People tend to just run the Choice Scarf on it, but there's a lot more you can do with the Ditto. Like you can run the Focus Sash, you can run the Room Service, you can run even White Herb is a good item to run on it. So I think if you can get out of the mindset of a Scarf Ditto,
Right.
I think Ditto is a fantastic Pokemon to have on the team. But the problem is you you got to think a bit more outside the box with Ditto to really get your bang for, get your most out of it. But I like that he's got the Malamar. It deters that Intimidate, which is the best way, one of the best ways to
His courage.
cripple the Glastrier. So it's a good team, but I feel like there's a couple ones that he could switch out to give him, like I said, a bit more bang for his buck in terms of typing.
Yeah, that's quite well said. I feel like the Alolan Vulpix is a bit strange, doubling on that ice types. My notes on this team is that this is a strange Trick Room team with Glastrier, Hatterene, and even Palossand. So this team almost always wants to try and operate in Trick Room because their strong attackers are always there. Then I would say strong picks at the beginning of the draft and very useful combos like Wade identified that really demand respect. However, if this team brings certain self-proc strategies, self-proc into weakness policy, this might also be very obvious and countered well. I always have respect for mascot pick, so I think the Sceptile pick is cool, but I'm not sure if that Ice Shard on Vulpix Alola could be, I'm not sure if that's a 100% viable strategy, so I'm not sure if this unburdened strat can be pulled off.
Yeah, I will say he's used it before, and he didn't do super great with it in the PBK, but I don't know how much he brought it.
Early on the season, he did really well. At the end of the season, it did not do good.
Yeah, well, and I don't know how much he actually brought that. I didn't like watch any matches, but to me, I like the spread of speed, like 29 to 145. That's a good.
Good point.
You're gonna basically underspeed most teams because most teams don't have anything slower than base 30. There's a couple, but Hatterene's gonna underspeed pretty much everything, and Excelgo's gonna outspeed pretty much everything. So I like that, or Unburdened Sceptile. I think there's better Ice Shard users. Like I would have preferred to see something like Glaceon or even Cryogonal. I think in Tier 5 is a much better pick than Vulpix. That being said, Vulpix, I guess you can. It gets Snow Warning and Aurora Veil, so I guess you can set screens with it, but I don't know. One fake out plus anything and it dies, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think this team is bad. I give it an 8, so I definitely think the threat level is still there, but that's kind of any team with Glastrier.
True.
Yeah, that is true. Glastrier as a threat.
All right, we get to move on.
Yep.
Awesome. Next
Nice.
up,
Ian Burst is in chat.
yeah, I just saw him. So this is Amburst, and I may mispronounce. I believe he told me it was the Shambana Shallows. I think that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Burst. So this puts him at what? 8th pick?
Yep.
Yeah. So right off the bat, he took a Firewater Grass Core, and a very scary Firewater Grass Core. Cinderace, Rotom Wash, and Tangrowth, I love. Aromatisse is one of the best Trick Room setters. I think people sleep on it a lot because it can't be taunted or imprisoned with its ability Aroma Veil. So I really like that. Articuno Galar I think is good to support the Cinderace as a competitive user. Crocodile is great value in Tier 3. Overall, I think that everything here is serving a purpose. I don't really question any of these picks except maybe the Drapion. But overall, I really like this team. Especially Lopunny in Tier 5 is a steal, and Hitmonchan both. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, again, I feel like he has really done well with his low tier picks. Like getting a Tier 4 with 120 base attack in Druddigon, that's not bad. He can get that going in Trick Room. His Steel Dragon Fairy core is very much a trick room orientated mode, and then his Firewater Grass is definitely a let's go fast mode. So he's got a good mix of speeds. He's got good support. I I think this is a good team. I think it's a really good team.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. My notes are this is the hallmark of a good staff's team. A good staff team is
Mm.
a team that can bring all six mons and you won't know which mon would Dynamax because all of them are strong Dynamax options. So my notes are this is a formidable collection of strong, viable mons that actually really work very well together, especially with good support tools and options. So Burst doesn't really need to Dynamax the sceneries. You can also go for a different set with coaching, focus sash and the sneaky ally switch. And I think there's also great room for creativity. Even with Anchor Point Crocodile, we're back at it again. Because Drapion has a 50% chance to crit. Yeah, or even maybe Galarian Articuno stuff. It has a very good speed tier. Galarian Articuno actually has pretty good stats and it does work well in draft because not like Urshifu is not everywhere. So
Yeah.
they do have the potential to get creative and Dynamax Max Airstream. If your opponent is careless and procs your competitive, then that's even better for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think this team is solid. I wrote in my notes that this was my favorite team out of this division. I think that the comp overall is just super good. There's enough synergy to make it run smoothly, but it's not it's not the synergy's not so obvious though that it's easy to prep for, and I think that's a really big advantage to this team. Hence why I gave it a 9 out of 10. All right, you guys good on this one?
Yeah, let's go next.
Nice.
All right, next up is the fifth leaf with the Latchkey Kids. So first he took Dusclops, which I'm not the hugest, personally not the hugest fan of Dusclops in draft. I think, I think that, I don't know. I don't think it does enough things in Tier 1, but it's still a very potent Trick Room setter. Drampa, round 2, I don't get. I don't know why he took it so early. That being said, Primarina, Heatran, Virizion is a super good Firewater Grass core. I do think you're leaving that specifically that core of 3. You're leaving yourself pretty susceptible to physical attacks because Virizion and Primarina do not want to take physical attacks. That being said, Heatran, I know Heatran has pretty good physical bulk. Yeah, I like this team. I don't think it's some of the synergy is a little it works, but it's not great in my opinion. Doug Trio is your only beat up user, I believe, other than
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one you're going to be using at least. So I'm not the hugest fan of that aspect of it, but we all gave it 8s. So what do you guys think?
Well, yeah, in terms of its typing, it covers quite a lot. I don't mind Dusclops as a top tier pick. I've seen some pretty funky stuff done with Dusclops, and I don't think he has taken advantage of his low tier picks. Zatu, Doug Trio, and Skuntank are all pretty good low tier picks, but Purloin's alright, but that Stunfisk, I don't think is great. I feel like he could have got something better there. Yeah, and he's got a good spread of speeds, 25 up to 130, and he's got. When I draft, I always try and get 1 or 2 below base 30, and then 2 or 3 above 100, and he's done that. He's got base 25 with Dusclops, and then he's got base 108, 120, and 130 with his faster mons. So it's quite a solid draft. He might have a bit of a hard time getting up Trick Room. That might be something that comes in the back. He does have Fake Out from Purloin, but if you're putting your faith in Purloin and helping you get Dusclops going, or helping Dusclops set up Trick Room, then you've got to bring Purloin on your team, and that could be detrimental. But yeah, like in terms of typing, pretty good. Speed tier is good. I think it's a pretty good team, and you should be able to do well with a team like this.
Yeah, well said. I totally want to chime in on you guys with this impressive dual cores, right? The fantasy core, the firewater grass core, it's super strong, and I can really see them bring these 6 months. I mean these 4 months with Dusclops every week, because Trampa, Primarina, Heatran, and Virizion form that dual cores, and just bring them with Dusclops. Then the last one you just choose. You want to bring Jolteon, you want to bring Purloin to threaten your opponent with prankster moves. That could be the case. And yeah, it's always peppered with that occasional threat of beat-up Virizion. So if you bring Darktrio in Team Preview, then your opponent might always want to be forced to lead with a max air stream mon. The team, I feel, might have an over-reliance on special attackers. Therefore, it can be weak to Snarl or Light Screen, especially when the physical Virizion alone, without beat-up, just can't do as much damage, right? Really needs specific setup to get itself going. And one last small point. Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that the Dusclops pick, I agree with Sam actually. I feel like it's quite unorthodox. I feel like maybe this coach, Fifth Leaf, might not have joined like drafts prior, and then maybe he doesn't realize that like Dusclops, that it doesn't realistically go on round one. Even Drampa wouldn't realistically go on in round two, and I'm quite impressed that he managed to pick up Primarina. So I think he recovered well in the middle of the draft to form a very like impressive core, and hopefully that would do well. Then my last small point is that I believe in this team, Heatran is gonna do well, but it really needs that tender loving care and protection because of that 4x weakness to ground.
Yeah. Now this isn't a Perish Trap team either.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's so tough to pull it off. Yeah.
Oh, he's
But
done
overall,
it in
yeah,
another
overall,
league.
because of the cause, right? That's why we gave them 8. So yeah, very impressive and quite a job well done. Recovering from a weird and unorthodox first few picks.
Hey man, I'm just saying. He just got into he snuck in on the last spot in playoffs in the VBA with a Perish Trap win.
Oh, did he get in? There we go.
Yeah, I play him week 1. We got a rematch.
Wow, nice, impressive.
Yeah.
That means
Alright.
he must have a plan going forward, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Dusclops.
so yeah, I mean, how he did it in the first one was in the VBA was he took a team that looked like Perish Trap, you know, the standard Dugtrio, Gengar, Gothitelle with Primarina and stuff like that, and Lapras. But then he was memeing about it all season, like, guys, I told you this isn't a Perish Trap team. And then he only clicked it in week 10 and won for it. So you know, I respect the hustle there, but yeah, I mean, Perish Song is something where if you bring it out once or twice, especially on a team like this, where I mean you've only really got Primarina and Dugtrio for that, but if you get it off once like in a week, then that's enough, you know, because you win. So I don't mind having like a small Perish Trap mode that can also function elsewhere.
Yeah, well, Perish Trap is such a good late game thing as well. Especially if you've got something like a Ferrothorn that's iron defensing up to the wazoo. Not that this team would have trouble with that, but at least then you have a fallback with Perish Song. I think it's a nifty little tool to have on your team of 11, whether it's Perish Trap or just Perish Song itself.
For sure.
Yeah, well said. I think one very prominent strategy last time when there was Lapras, right, was take 2 quick KOs with Life Orb Lapras or Weakness Policy, and then end the game with Perish Trap. So, with Perish Song, killing the last 2 mons that are forced to come in. So
Yeah.
hopefully, the fifth leaf should be able to pull this strategy off like 1 or 2 weeks. But I kind of agree with Sam that it might not be the most consistent strategy out there.
Yep. All right, we can slide on to the next one here.
Nice. Yeah, 3 more teams to go.
All right, so this is Krabby Shack and the Corpus Christi Krabbies. So he started the draft off with Garchomp, Mimikyu, Zapdos, which I think is a really cool core. You get that
Yeah.
Disquake combo. Obviously, from my draft, I'm a huge fan of Garchomp. 524 average base stat total is incredibly good. It's really high.
This is the highest.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that Disquake combo is so good. Like you're just putting out so much damage, and you can like lead Garchomp Zapdos and just do damage, and then have something like a Registeel in the back to stall like a late game. And I think that Mimikyu Garchomp Registeel is a really really strong fantasy core. Combined with I don't. Miltank, I don't 100% know what he's going for there. He talked to me about his draft plan, but I don't think he got everything he wanted. I'm not sure, but I mean, Roserade is a good, decently fast sleep powder user, which I like. Magmortar, I don't think is an awful tier 4, and yeah, I really like this team. I think I rated an 8. Oh, I rated it a 7. But it was definitely like higher end of 8 for me, or 7 for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think I rated this. It ended up rounding up to a 9, but my rating got to an 8.6. I quite like the diverse typing it has. And in terms of speed control, I rated it a bit lower. It's got a consistent airstream in terms of Zapdos. Can set up the Trick Room with Mimikyu. Hasn't really got a lot that will likes to take advantage of Trick Room. But I guess it would be more of a preventative thing or as a counter tailwind strategy. General tools like Scrafty's good. Tentacruel can do some things. He's got that Garchomp there, so you could do the Bulldoze weakness policy type stuff. I think Wishcash is a brilliant tier 5. I think he has also really done well with his low tiers. His Mr. Rhyme, Wishcash, Miltank, and Tentacruel all pretty strong for tier 4s and tier 5s. And he has a lot of strong special attackers. He's got one strong physical attacker with others that can't do damage. So I feel like in terms of threat level, it is quite high. Maybe with the Miltank, maybe you can run something with the Roserade. Get some
Sapsicle stuff going on.
Yeah, like Scarf.
Isn't there an AoE move where Roser like Petal Blizzard or something like that?
Petal Blizzard or some form of buns, yeah.
Where you hit every opponent and your partner.
It's physical, yes. Yep, physical.
Yeah, so maybe he could run a Scarf Roserade next to Miltank there. That could be pretty pog.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even like a Scarf Roserade with Sleep Powder is pretty good. And you can lock into Sleep Powder and still click it into Miltank to get the Sap Super Boost. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can't. I really don't think that's bad at all. Like,
what a good idea.
Because I mean,
put everything. Yeah.
Yeah, scarfing into Sleep Powder with a base 90 speed, you're gonna outspeed everything and just sleep it all.
Yeah, well, I've quite a lot to say for this team. I think this is my favorite team and the team that I ranked the highest at 8.75. Because, Sam, you drafted Tapu Koko Garchomp, right?
Yeah.
Then I think Kirby here is one-upping you. Like, Zapdos Garchomp, that's insane. That's so popular back in VGC 2017. Then I gave this team a title, like Zapdos Garchomp team with a little bit of spice. And I kind of do understand this spice now that you say it, because it felt like Krabby sort of had a game plan going forward but couldn't get some of the picks that they wanted, right? So, but however, still coming up with this draft with like the highest average base stat total of all time. I felt like the whole draft really allowed Krabby to run away with such a solid squad. There's extremely impressive value for money for their picks overall, and I think Reggie Steele is always a steal. Like if it's in tier 2, not too bad. I think tier 3 definitely a steal. So this is an example of a team hard carrying the coach instead of the coach having to like rack their brain each week to try and carry the team. And
Yeah.
lastly, I feel like this team might have to get creative against like opposing trick room strategies, especially those players trying to go for very very hard trick room. But with all the tools, with Scruffy, with the threat of sleep from Roserade, additional fake out from Mr. Rhyme, I think this team is very scary. And in terms of damage output, you guys said that it does seem kind of special, especially with that threat of Moltres and Magmortar. But I think like the best physical attacker out there, my favorite move in the game is body press. And I think if Krabby really gets that Reggie Steele going, then this is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, I like this team a lot. There's a couple things, like I feel like maybe having a better Bulldoze user for Tentacruel could be good. Like, yes, Garchomp can do it, but Tentacruel's got no physical defense, so it's gonna hurt. 80 HP, 65 defense, coming off a base 130 attack Garchomp, like that's gonna hurt. But the reward still might be worth it. So, you guys good on this one?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
Alright.
let's swap it over. Here we go.
Magmortar gets Bulldoze. That could be what he goes for there.
That's true. Alright, so this is Rainbow Boy and the Snowpoint Sylveons. He was 11th pick. And so he took Gothitelle round 1, which I disagree with. I don't think Gothitelle is a round 1 pick. I like Gothitelle. I was hating on Gothitelle, and then I realized, oh, it's actually really good on my team. So now I like Gothitelle.
You damn hypocrite.
Hey, I can admit when I was wrong. But no, I stand by the fact Gothitelle's not a good round 1 pick. Granted, he followed it up with Moltres, Togedemaru, Lapras, which I think is good. I don't like Lapras in draft, really, but I see what it does on this team. Followed up by Tangela Entei for a pretty decent Firewater Grass Core. I don't see the Entei here. I don't 100% get what it's doing. Like, it's not really bulldozing anything. Yeah, I'm not sure there. But, Glaceon I love. Slurpuff I also don't get. And I also don't get Cherim. So there's a couple picks here that confuse me. But the top end of the draft is pretty good, and I think he honestly dropped the ball a little bit with some of the lower tier picks. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel that his lower tier picks aren't that great on this team. Like, I think Slurpuff is great. I picked it, but I've got a way that I can use it. He doesn't even have bullet punch, I don't think, to activate a weakness policy on it. So seems a bit rough. I do like Throw as a tier 5. And it can work quite well in Trick Room. I always contemplate getting it as a tier 5, but always end up filling it out with other types that I need. So I've never actually drafted it. But all round, I think this team has got some things it can do. Like, you can see why Entei's there. It's a strong fire type that completes a Firewater Grass Core, and gives it a bit of physical offense, because that's where this team's lacking. It doesn't pack a punch outside of really Glaceon and Entei. The next highest offensive stat is 100 with Throw. So I feel this team is going to lack the offensive power.
Do keep in mind it has Moltres.
Oh yeah, I guess. But Moltres requires setup. There's nothing that can just punch you in the face off the bat. And I've always found that with Moltres, that it does require that setup. Either you boosting its stats or you dropping your opponent's stats. So I guess he has got the weakness policy there with Lapras or Glaceon can activate that, and Togedemaru. But still, yeah, I think this team just lacks a bit of power.
Yeah, my label for this team is it's definitely a Moltres Gala team. There's a Glastrier team, there's a Metagross team. This is clearly a Moltres Gala team. I think even more so than a Lapras team. I think Togedemaru could be interesting support. I went to check the draft log. I really think that Huron division has been drafting a bit strangely, like leaving Dragapult open, leaving Moltres open even in round 2, and additionally, I feel like this coach could have drafted Raichu if I'm not wrong, but chose to draft Togedemaru instead. I think that's creative. It could be useful with additional support moves or even like other abilities. You bait opponents thinking that you are lightning rod, but instead you are sturdy, and then you give your sash to someone else. One big thing about this team is that Dynamax options are going to be very obvious in team preview, and that could be easily countered. So I think this team needs specific strategies to get itself going, because otherwise the main attacker, like Wade says, doesn't have a lot of offensive pressure right off the bat, so it might not be able to keep up with the damage output against the opposing threats. So I think this team also might have to struggle in Trick Room, because I feel like sometimes in Prison, Trick Room on Gothitelle might not be enough. So to play around Trick Room, really need to bulk up, maybe set up that Gmax Resonance, and then rely on Tangela and Gothitelle to just do good things and stall it out. Then maybe in the end come up with like Moltres and Fury Rough everything. Yeah, however, I do understand, like this Surpath, this Cherin, then maybe the Troll pick, they do seem a bit weird and out of place. So hopefully Rainbow Boy could try and improve the team with some trades. One last shout out, the Glaceon mascot pick, respect.
Oh, I love Glaceon. Glaceon's so good. Even without.
Yeah, it could be good, huh?
Yeah. One more thing I was gonna say is just like this team basically has two Dynamax options, like Moltres and Lapras, and I don't really think Lapras is even that good of a max option in draft. So like, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's a little one dimensional for me. I like to me if it's okay. Like Moltres is a fine carry, like it's good at carrying your team, but you need the low tiers to support it, and I don't think he quite grabbed that kind of support that it needs to just carry every week. Like I think there's going to be weeks where Moltres is going to struggle, and then this team struggles because Moltres is its only way to deal damage. And he also
Chris Allen in chat is I think saying a good point that I feel like Ante sort of also has to carry the team quite a lot. Yeah, with good support moves like Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, even Scary Face.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, right. Last team.
Yeah. Alright, with 12th pick, we have Bubble Hulk and the Gardener Guzzlords. So he definitely drafted more of a traditional kind of like draft order, more top down. So he took Tornadus round 1 out of 2-0, which I think is a good 2-0 pick. Arcanine in pick 2. I think that is a phenomenal pick because Arcanine was in Tier 2 in this league, and I think in Tier 2 is probably one of the best fire types. And also, I was like there were like 3 fire types in Tier 4 and like 4 in Tier 3, and everything else was in Tier 1 and 2 because there's just barely any fire types in this gen, and then half of them aren't good. So all the good fire types were in high tiers, so getting Arcanine out of Tier 2 was a steal. I am a huge fan of the Dracloak. I don't know how Dracloak, I think is how you say it.
Dracloak.
Combined with Arcanine or Mudsdale, I think is super good. Grimmsnarl Mudsdale with Swagger is busted. I think you're relying a lot on setup stuff with Arcanine and Mudsdale, but then you have stuff like Serena that can function on its own. You have 2 Prankster users, and Serena, which prevents them from getting faked out, which I think is amazing. And also,
Mm.
Serena really loves Tailwind, so I really like Serena. This might be one of the best uses like drafts of Serena I've seen, just because of how much the team wants it. Um, but then he's got his own fake out with Grimmsnarl and Toxicroak. So yeah, I love this team. I think I rated it a 9. This was my second. Yeah, this was my second
Yeah.
favorite. What do you guys
That was
think?
high.
Yeah, no, in terms of type synergy, speed control, and general tools, I rated this all 9s. Threat level, I didn't rate it as high, um, uh, just because there isn't a lot of stuff that's going to punch you in the face really hard off the bat.
That's true. It does. It
Um,
needs setup.
But it would be interesting. Does what's that Pokemon? Does Toxicroak get Bullet Punch?
I don't think so.
Can find out. I don't think it does.
It gets Mach Punch. Oh my gosh, it gets Bullet
No.
Punch.
It does get Bullet Punch.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Bullet Punch
it doesn't
with
get Mach Punch, but it gets Bullet Punch, yeah.
yeah. So Bullet Punch with that Grimmsnarl could be quite interesting. Have put a weakness
Absolutely,
policy in
yes.
the Grimmsnarl with is it
Pickpocket.
pocket ability?
Yes.
Yeah. So that could be cool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
He
Gets Vacuum Wave too.
He does have a lot of way to proc weakness policies on this team as well. So, you know, he has got a lot of weakness policy users, but also a lot of weakness policy proccers. So, I think there's going to be a bit of a what's he going to bring against me type thing.
Yeah,
I just think that there's not a lot of power off the bat, but there's a lot of just under a lot of power. So he can hit you with multiple things, and it's going to be hard to prepare for everything.
Oh, that's so true. I feel like always coming up with interesting techs and very good surprises, especially with such a versatile team. I think that's really, really good in a draft league. My label for this team, like I said, it's a Grimmsnarl team with a few good friends and a few random piles. I think some of the low tier picks might be a bit unorthodox, but I can see them putting in good work. I understand Sam's respect for the Dracloak. Yeah, I think it certainly can help. Um, Even as a support mon with Eviolite, or just clean beat up strategy with Arcanine. Then I think Swagger is also going to be very helpful. And having two Prankster Mon, that gives, sometimes it might give way into Tornadus being a Defiant Mon, and that can also have that additional punch of surprise to catch your opponents off guard. I feel like the Dynamax options are quite big, like diverse, right? Anything can actually Dynamax and even carry the weakness policy and just go crazy. So overall, this team has good ways to deal damage and just pick, like win 2 games, steal 2 games, and it could be quite unpredictable. Then I think uh, maybe this team could have drafted Gazlock as a mascot pick because I thought some of the low tier picks are a bit random, like Barbarical, for example. But then again, Gazlock might be in a higher tier.
Yeah, Guzzlord is 2-3.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I think 2-3. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you could also Toxicroak can Sucker Punch into Slowking for weakness policy. I think Dracloak also might get Sucker Punch.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
does.
does.
I think because Dragapult does.
But yeah, and Cryogonal gets Ice Shard for Serena. So yeah, he has lots of setup here. And sometimes I don't usually like teams that rely on setup. But when you just have this many setup options, how do you know what to prep for? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
I will say redirection hurts this team, but because then you're forced to make a slow lead and play from behind until you're able to clear the redirector and then get your setup going.
Yeah, like the very famous like Grimmsnarl Arcanine lead, right? Just set up screens and snarl, wait for your opponent to stall dynamics, then finally come in with something strong in the back.
Yep, I agree. Maybe taunt the follow me user with Grimmsnarl before it dies or something. Yeah. I that setup is reliable enough that I don't worry about this team like getting its stuff going really. So yeah, I like it a lot.
Nice, I agree with this grade. Yeah, quite high, very strong.
All right. Well, that is it for the Huron division. Thanks to everyone is watching on YouTube. We are gonna have one more that we're recording right after this for the Erie division, and then some overall stats, which will all drop later tonight or today on my YouTube channel. So be sure to check all those out, and thanks everyone for watching.